Hello, my dear viewer. It is I, Jimmy. So guys, today, I know it's the summertime here in the United States, or damn near close to it. Today though, I'm actually not going to be talking about a summertime video game or anything that relates to summertime. Instead today, I will be talking about the spiritual Castlevania successor, or I should say more like Castlevania 3 Turbo / New Challengers Dash. And that is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. So without further ado, let us roll some gameplay, shall we? So yeah guys, Curse of the Moon. Created by Inti Creates and, believe it or not, Iga, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys may know Iga from his work on Symphony of the Night, which is, everyone knows, is pretty much damn near everyone's favorite Castlevania game. Yours truly being Order of Ecclesia for the Nintendo DS, because that one was absolutely solid in terms of the Metroidvania vein. So guys, let us talk about the history of this game for just a little bit, shall we? So, Curse of the Moon is an interesting game, because it was actually a Kickstarter game. That being, this was a Kickstarter reward to the main game, which is Ritual of the Night. In fact, this game is actually a prequel to that game, so the character Miriam, who's the protagonist of that game, is actually a playable character in this game that you can recruit from the first stage onward. The main character in this game is actually a character named Zangatsu. Then you can unlock other characters as well, like totally not Alucard Jibel, and totally not Sifa Alfred. So guys, I guess I should talk about the graphics in this game. So, I mean, honestly, they're on the screen right now. Are you looking at this? This totally looks like Castlevania 3. Like, literally looks like Castlevania 3. The graphics in this game are absolutely great. For the style they're trying to emulate, they do a damn good job of that. The sound in this game, honestly, it does the job extremely well. It's just really good. You're really, honestly, emulating an 8-bit Nintendo is not too bad. It does a really good job of it. The music, though. The music is actually not too bad. The composers on the screen right here are here. You guys might recognize a specific name, specifically Michiru Yamane, who is a longtime Castlevania composer. Yes, she's actually a composer on this game as well. In fact, she has also composed some of the songs for Ritual of the Night as well, which is actually pretty badass. The songs themselves in this game, they range from one of two things. They either do their job, or they really freaking stand out. And honestly, for a game like this, you can't really ask for too much in terms of sound, because of course you want the music to be atmospheric to a point where it doesn't interfere with the gameplay. At the same time, there are a couple tracks that really stand out to me. This one in particular really stood out to me the first time I heard it, and this is closer towards the end of the game. So let it play for a little bit, shall we? That is a really cool music track. Quite possibly one of my favorite tracks in the game. And yeah, there's really not much else to talk about in terms of that department. Next up, I guess we should actually talk about the gameplay of this game. Because you control 4 characters. You start off with 1, you recruit characters as you pass through each stage. So let's actually talk about these characters, because they do actually play really different from one another. So I guess we should actually start off with Zangatsu, since he's the first character you start off with. So Zangatsu is an interesting character. His motivations in this game is pretty much to kill monsters. I mean, literally tells you in the game that that's what he's out to do, is just destroy monsters. So, he's out to destroy monsters. How could I put this? He plays like a downgraded version of Simon Belmont from Castlevania 1. He has really, really stiff jumps. He really doesn't jump all that high. His range is pitifully short, and I mean pathetically short. We're talking like before the whip upgrade, the final whip upgrade, or the extender, or as we call it here, the lady pleaser. So yeah, guys, it is very interesting. This is a bit of a spoiler territory, but believe it or not, you can actually choose not to recruit all the allies you can get in the game. Instead, you can choose to straight up not talk to them or kill them. And if you do that, you do unlock a special mode called Ultimate Mode. And you play through the entire game with just Zangatsu. And as you'll see on screen, sometimes that is extremely difficult. Just because of the extreme difficulty sometimes. Because he does have some troubles with the platforming bits. Especially since we're going to move on here to Miriam, the protagonist of Ritual of the Night. She has actually a much higher jump. She has a slide mechanic, which definitely comes in handy, especially from avoiding attacks when you're crouching down. You want to move in just an inch closer to that boss, just to whoop him with your whip. And did I mention she has an extended whip? Yes, that's right. She actually has a much longer range than Zangatsu. Granted, she does have less health. Zangatsu, being the character, has the most health in this game. And yeah, that is pretty cool to note. It is pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. She definitely comes in handy. Her range really helps. Honestly, once you get her, there's really no reason for you to be playing as Zangatsu, except maybe the fact that Zangatsu has a slightly higher attack speed than Miriam. But that's pretty much all he really has against all the other characters. And then naturally after that, we're going to move on to the mage himself, Alfred, or totally not Sifa. And yeah, so just some wizard warlock mage dude who has a really cool crap ton of magic. And honestly, there's really not much to say there. His magic does come in clutch though, because you will use his magic to get to certain areas, especially the flame wheel that encircles you, and that definitely comes in handy, especially when you have those dudes that shoot a crap ton of arrows at you. And just in general, using the shield, the flame shield, really comes in handy for some of the areas that get a little hairy at times, especially when you have these freaking dudes throwing hammers at you, and it's your first time playing through this goddamn game. But yeah, you know, whatever, that's cool, I guess. You know, totally having the Medusa heads, totally not Medusa heads fly at you, and having this dude throw hammers at you, it's totally cool. Yeah, totally. Anyway, it's not the point. So yeah, he has the least amount of health in this game. He has a, I don't really know what the heck it is, a cane of sorts that he flops people with, and the rate of attack is pathetic. I mean, literally, this guy, when he swings it, it actually stays there for a little bit, for just a few frames, and let me tell you, if you're not prepared and you don't plan ahead for that, you will be punished severely by the enemies, especially since he has the least amount of health. Luckily, his magic deals a crap ton of damage, and surprisingly, doesn't use a lot of hearts. As many. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean hearts. I mean magic. I corrected myself there. Hearts actually give you health in this game. So yeah, that is the thing. Hearts do give you health. But yeah, so he does have that. Next up, we have Jebel, or Gebel, or Jebel, I guess, if you want to go that route. But Jebel. Jebel is completely and totally different than Alucard. He turns into a bat. He throws 3 bats. Just, Yeah, actually, he's just pretty much Alucard at this point from Castlevania 3. Anyway, I'm thinking about it. His spread even kind of looks like Alucard too. Oh, anyway, let's get past that, shall we? So yeah, so Jebel. He can turn into a bat, which, let me tell you right now, for some of the trickier platforming sections, definitely comes in handy if you want to just breeze right through it. And let me tell you right now, I'm lazy sometimes. Actually, most of the times I'm pretty lazy, like super lazy. You have no idea, guys. So I abused the hell out of that. It definitely came in handy. Being able to transform into a bat and just completely pass over a lot of those chasms. He also has a dash attack in his bat form. As I mentioned, when he attacks, he does the 3 bats. The bat attack is actually not that strong. It's actually weaker. It's actually one of the weaker attacks in the game itself. He has not as much health as Miriam, but he does have more health than Alfred himself. And he can't actually collect any weapons. So, like the other characters, believe it or not, they can collect weapons and magic, specifically for Alfred. So they each have different abilities that they can equip. If you're ever transformed into Jeeble and you wanna, if you're running low on magic potion or whatever the heck it's called, and you see a the purple candles that give you the weapons, you can transform to him. Because you can hot swap characters on the fly. Transform to him, attack that candle or whatever, and it'll give you a 5-point magic boost. Pretty much every single time, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're not looking to swap out magic. So guys, as I mentioned, you can hot swap characters on the fly by hitting L and R or whatever you're playing on: PC, Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and Nintendo 3DS. You know, even though they pretty much all have the same layout for controllers. Anyway, that's besides the point. Definitely comes in handy, and you will definitely be using this, especially to get into hard to reach areas, unless you're some kind of masochist and you want to go through the hardest, and I mean the hardest freaking areas in the game. And we're gonna come back to that in just a little bit right now. And pretty much, yeah, so you do that, you blow right through this game. The first time I played this game was, I'm not gonna lie, super simple, and I thought this game was kind of holding back, and I did overcomplicate some of the boss fights. I mean, I really did overcomplicate them. So, you beat this game, you're done, yeah, rad, let's watch that ending now. Whoa, Zagatu, you feeling okay there, buddy? Balls. So, yeah, guys, you gotta replay through the game a second time. Yep, this game pulls a ghouls and ghosts on you. So, your second playthrough, this game is definitely a lot tougher. You don't have Zangatsu anymore, so you don't have that extra health bar you can switch between in the middle of boss fights. Which, I'm not gonna lie, you're really not gonna notice. Honestly, especially because you're not going to use him until you get the ultimate mode, and you have to use him because you can only use him. So yeah, you're definitely going to play through this game again. Enemies are tougher, and just in general, the game is a lot tougher as well. Enemy placement has been swapped around a bit. There are enemies in places you didn't see them at first, and where you would have expected them your first time around, especially if you're more in tune to the older Castlevania games on NES and Super Nintendo and the others, is like NECPC engine. Woo! Yeah, guys, it's a lot tougher. The bosses actually do attack a lot more frequently, and most of the bosses do have new attacks. So yeah, if you overcomplicated the boss fights for a bit, I think you're going to understand why. Because yeah, I feel like they're missing an attack. This is the mode for you. They attack you with that one extra attack. And let me tell you right now, sometimes they have a projectile attack that will bounce around, or they'll fire projectiles at you, and it makes the game just a little bit more difficult. Though, thankfully for you, with a bit of perseverance and persistence, you can pass through these bosses. So, you get through the game, you're finally reaching the final level, you reach Zangatsu, and then you fight him. You're ready to swap between characters, you're gonna do it, and then this happens. Yeah, that's right. You can't actually swap between characters in this boss fight. You're stuck playing as Miriam, and quite frankly, not gonna lie, it gets pretty intense. Luckily for you, the characters do come in and aid you during this boss fight. So guys, after you do that and you reach a breaking point, you whoop Zangatsu's ass, you finally do it, the three of you, I mean mostly you actually, because Miriam does all the work here. Get in, you summon the magic, you free his soul, you destroy the evil within his heart, and you beat the game. And you get this, actually, you get a really, really nice screen. It, not gonna lie, it's pretty much reminiscent of pretty much every early NES Castlevania game. I mean, Castlevania 1, not so much Castlevania 2, Castlevania 3, and Super Castlevania 4. So guys, what are my thoughts in this game? It's actually a pretty gosh darn great game. Like for real, the graphics in this game, they do their job, NES inspired, I completely understand. 8-bit aesthetic. The music, as I mentioned, does its job where it needs to. There are a couple of standout tracks, as I mentioned. The characters look like what they're supposed to, which is actually really hard to do, especially, you know, when you're working with 8-bit graphics. And the bosses themselves, at times your first playthrough do feel a little cheap. And as I mentioned, the first time you play through this game, it is extremely easy until you realize that you're supposed to play through the game again. And I did allude to this. If you decide to play as exclusively as Zangatsu, not recruit the other playable characters, and instead kill them, you do unlock an ultimate mode. Just know that this mode is extremely difficult. This is pretty much for the Castlevania purists that you may or may not be. So guys, I would highly recommend this game. It is an absolute blast to play from start to finish. You can pretty much complete this game in about an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours and 30 minutes. Pretty much each playthrough. Some of the bosses might give you a bit of trouble, with the exception of this guy over here, because honestly, even on the second playthrough, this boss was pretty pathetic. Even the Camilla looking like character, or the Elizabeth Bathory wannabe, even she was kind of pathetic once you figured out what to do, and you find out you can just pretty much stand on the umbrellas and you can just wait for her to come by and just spam attacks like kind of just a little bit. But hey, I understand. Limited, this is an NES game, so you can find exploits like that. Anyways, guys, I highly recommend this game. It pretty much primes you pretty gosh damn well for Ritual of the Night. And plus, dude, it's $10 on Steam, Nintendo Switch, 3DS, Xbox One, and the PS4. You really can't do anything wrong with it. So guys, this has been Jimmy. It's been a very spooky summertime video. Actually, no, really not. Remember, guys, to stay absolutely radical, and thanks for tuning in, alright, guys?